G'day YouTube, welcome back to Type of Aquatics. I have been gone a while, I'm aware. Well, I am aware, but I've also now been told that I need to make more videos because they were enjoying watching them, but you know who you are. I am getting back into it. I've been meaning to get back into it, but so many things came up, and yeah, I was sick for 2 months with like just a long line of different illnesses. And things happened, the shop changed some stuff and whatever. There will be a video on either coming out before this or coming out just after this that is basically an update of the shop. And that'll just explain what's going on and if there's anything fun that's happening. My normal shenanigans. So today's shenanigans are to do with choosing your second-hand saltwater aquarium. By far, the most aquariums that I service, maintain, or help people set up have been second-hand at one point or another, if not gone through multiple hands. I think it's important to learn about how to choose your aquarium because by far, the most common issues people have once getting into the hobby is because they've bought a second-hand tank and they don't know what's going on with it, which in the end can cause a lot of issues and cause a lot of pain that you have to deal with for a long time. Conveniently, I have had a friend who has had some family problems and he's had to go fly away back to Canada for a bit. And in the meantime, he had his saltwater aquarium here. This is a 180 Reef Sys from Aquarium. 180 liters altogether with the sump after rocks in it. It's still probably about 180. This is what I would say is a really good size aquarium for a lot of people, especially in Australia. Bigger is always better when it comes to saltwater aquariums, as we know. 180 seems to be the most affordable. Around that 200 litre mark seems to be the most affordable, but also the less issues that can appear. So I'm deciding to do a series. He will be getting this tank back. So I have approximately 4 to 6 months, perhaps less, to change this or set this up how I want it. His fish will be going back in here, so the fish choices are already decided, I'm sorry. But the coral and rock work will be all our own. I've been trying to come up with a name for this, but it's the second-hand tank to reef series. So you'll be following me along as we turn this tank into a reef in just hopefully less than 4 months, and we can enjoy it for a bit. And then when he takes it back, hopefully he likes what we've done. If not, then I get to keep everything anyway, and he can set it up how he wants. But in the meantime, he couldn't have the tank sitting at his house empty. So he's brought it here, and I'm very happy to be looking after his stuff, and I'm glad that he trusts me with it. So, step 1 to choosing your reef tank. We're gonna adjust here. You want your reef tank, your second-hand reef tank, sorry. There's 3 things that usually cause people to shut down their tanks, at least here in Australia. I don't know about elsewhere. The first one is, unfortunately, what tends to be happening a lot at the moment, and that is people are shutting down due to time restraints and money restraints. With the environment that is the economy of Australia at the moment, it's been a bit crazy the past 2 years or so. It's starting to get better, and a lot more tanks are being bought new, and a lot more people are getting back into the hobby, so it's great. But in saying that, obviously some people do get thrown out of it for one reason or another, whatever their financial situation is. The second reason that people tend to get out of the hobby is that they're moving away, whether they're moving different house in the same city, which usually they take the tank with them, or if their new house doesn't have enough space for the tank, then they have to give it away, or they're moving cross town, cross state even. You know, there's just very little way that you can move that many saltwater creatures safely. And those tanks tend to be the best ones to go for, because they're usually running well, they usually don't have too many issues, and the person who had it before really likes it and enjoys it, but has unfortunately had to shut it down due to other circumstances. The third reason, which also tends to be the most popular reason, is constant issues. They can never fix their tank. They can never keep coral alive, they can never keep fish alive. They always seem to have algae, they deal with issues, blah 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 blah. It can go on forever. When you have those tanks, it is super important that you know the history of the tank if you want to succeed with your secondhand tank that you've now gotten from them. Now the reason for this is they're giving up on the hobby and they're trying to recoup whatever money they can. So they're going to sell it for a pretty cheap price, or a price that's going to snag enough people in as possible, which is fine. I do not mind that. But you have to be aware that why they are shutting down their tank. So if they're shutting down their tank because they can't stop killing coral, then it's important to see perhaps why. So this does require a bit of foreknowledge. If it's because their plumbing is so terribly set up and you notice that they don't have good equipment, it's a bit jury-rigged together, all that needs to add up together to why or how your tank is going to run. If you know the history of their tank and you're taking all the fish and the rock and everything and basically coming back with a full setup tank, you need to be able to know how to fix the issue, if it's even an issue worth fixing, before going on and purchasing that tank. So step one of buying a tank is know the history. That'll tell you everything you need to know to move to the next stage and purchasing, bringing your tank home and solving the issues, or starting fresh and new. Now the benefit of secondhand tanks that have been set up previously, they usually come fully cycled. You just need to move the media that they have and perhaps some of the rock, the sand, whatever you want. Generally a little bit of their water, and it will be fully cycled for you, no problems. There is a caveat to this. If they've had issues keeping fish alive, they can keep coral alive all day, but fish go into the tank and perhaps they die of disease within a week. Taking on this tank, you're also taking on that disease. So you need to decide whether you're going to clean slate or find some way to get the disease out of the tank otherwise. That is another big issue I know a lot of people have with their tank, is taking on someone else's disease issue. Be sure to check what the history of the tank is. You'll have to excuse how bright my face is right now. I'm currently under 3 fish tank lights. The next part is to work out what is in the sump, what you can keep, how is it set up, and if it's worth changing, salvaging, whatever needs to be done. In this case, my friend has plumbed this thing absolutely amazingly. The pipes are all here. I still got to do it, but I thought I would at least show you, them all apart. You got to check O-rings are all in place and see what does what and if it works for you. I won't be changing anything because, again, I was very fortunate. This is like the perfect example of a tank that you want. The filter mat roller has a really nice connection. It's a gate valve. It's a twist connector with, still has the O-rings intact. And that connects on to the filter mat roller, just like that. This tank also came with a UV, which I will be using, but it is a very low powered UV, but I'll only be using it for water clarity, not disease control or anything. Here at Tidepool, we QT all our fish, and his fish are currently in QT, so they will be going through that. But because we're not introducing any new fish to this tank except his current ones, there shouldn't be an issue with disease anyway. But it is only 11 watts, so likely not going to do much except clean the water, the green color. His media in here is still nice and wet, still all good, so the cycle will not need to be done. And All we need to do now is get the overflow and return pipes put in, including the emergency, and put his plumbing back together, put his skimmer back in, and then plug everything back in. Make sure you always have all the plugs and fixes and pumps that came with the original tank, unless you plan to change them out, then know what need to be changed out. However, this is a perfect setup and I don't need to change anything, and I intend to keep it exactly how it is. Plumbing's done. And yes, I did in fact have to get up from the floor, set the camera up in this spot, get back down onto the floor just to do that shot. And that wasn't even the first attempt, that was the second. Anyway, so now that the plumbing is done, the next step is to sort out the wiring. This can vary in difficulty depending on how much equipment that you plan to put in there straight away, how much equipment they had, or to how messy it was to begin with. In my case, it's not too difficult, I just have a lot of cords that I need to sort out. So that is what I'm going to be doing for the next probably 35 years, and I'll check back in with you when I'm done. So I'm actually in the car right now because I need more power boards, because somehow I've run out of power boards when I run like 80 million. So I'm going to take a trip down to Bunnings. I'm taking you guys with me. Although I actually need to stop at the petrol station first, because this is what we're dealing with right now. Oh yeah. We're running on fumes here, people. Alright, let's go. I had to choose the Bunnings that is like the most popular Bunnings. Also, this is super awkward. Not used to this yet. I just did the whole tap my pocket thing and my phone wasn't there and I freaked out. I'm filming on it. God, I'm an idiot. There were a lot of people in the electronic aisle, but I got them. Oh, $83 later, and we have power boards. All of the wiring is now done. Yeah, you said it. Oh, sorry. I'm still sweaty. Look at this. You want to know how hot it is in North Queensland right now? That's your temperature gauge. Oh, actually, speaking about temperature, I did not mention. So with this tank, I won't be running a chiller, which is like, you know, the cardinal sin of marine keeping. People do it up here. They use air conditioning to cool down their tank, but it gets so bloody hot up here that we pretty much always need to run chillers. Like, heaters don't exist up here, except for that 1 month during winter where it gets a little bit frigid. And by frigid, I mean like minimum 18 degrees. We have some cooler nights, but anyway, I will be running air conditioning in this room more or less constantly. At around 24 degrees, and all of the other tanks in here will actually be running heaters because they need to be a bit hotter. But let me show you around the tank. So we have the skimmer here, which the skimmer cup's just not on it, but it is there. We have the roller mat plugged in. We have some pretty decent wireage. That power board is going to be screwed up so that, you know, it's not just hanging there. And we got our massive return pump in. This here has just got to be changed slightly, but it's fine. That's connected to the UV, and it all runs through behind my desk to here. These two power boxes are going to be put up on this, And then the rest of these are going to be zip tied or tied up to make it look nice, but either way it's pretty okay. And then we've got the wave makers in and the light plugged in, which this light will probably change because I don't like it. Now you will notice that I'm not cleaning anything. The wave makers are still disgusting, the sand's disgusting, there's a snail living down there. I want to keep this tank as kind of biologically ready as possible. So I want all the bacteria that's still left there, all the nutrients, detritus, whatever, to be left there. And then I will solve the problem later on with filtration, water changes, all that stuff. She's cuddling into my neck. Water changes, all that such, and fix the issue later. It's going to be much better for the cycle and the ecosystem if I leave what is here intact as much as possible, because that's what it had stabilized as. So that is what I'm doing. I'm not going to bore you guys with the process of filling this up with water and mixing the water, because that's going to take me a few hours, because I have to fill the RO reservoir and then mix up the salt. I am using mixed salt water, not natural seawater. I prefer mixed salt water for stability and many other reasons. I can talk about that later if you want. I keep looking at the screen, not the lens. I'm sorry. And I will update you guys more and more. Check out the next video, which will be a tide pool update. And I plan to get a video of this tank every week, once a week, hopefully, if I'm not slack again. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.